What's up, guys? Shuckle King here for my Week 7 battle for MLBA versus Baconchest of the Coach of the St. Kilda Superiors. Currently, Baconchest is 4-2, so doing pretty well this season. But again, I am 6-0. Still kind of surprised. I know my team is pretty broken with a Naganadel plus a Lander's Eye, though I believe it's a Naganadel, Lanoon, and Kingler, I believe, are my top 3 kill getters this season. Maybe Mega Gallades in there too, but it's a surprising bunch there. I think Landers only has like 2 kills or something, which is pretty crazy. But anyway, as you can see in the corner there, Baconchest's team from most to least threatening is Tapu Koko, Tornadus T, Infernape, Metagross, Piloswine, Tangrowth, Mega Tyranitar, Salamence, Blastoise, Statland, and Abra. Koko, Torn-T, Infernape, I all expect them to come. It's a pretty cool Volt turn core that he has there to bring in like Mega T-Tart and maybe a Dragon Dance Sweep or Salamence, a Dragon Dance Sweep at the end there. And of course, Tapu Koko can just destroy teams in and of itself. Metagross is a pretty good check to Naganadel. I wouldn't call it a counter, unless it's like a Solvest or Akaberry to take a Fire Blast, because they could be Nasty Plat, Virium, Z to a Nuka Metagross there. Piloswine also does a good enough job at checking Naganadel. It probably takes a +2 hit, as long as I don't use my Z move. It's especially defensive and can do a lot of damage with Earthquake plus Ice Shard. So I gotta watch out for that. I really expect the first 5 to come. Tangrowth, I can see it coming just to check my Gallade, which can kind of be a problem unless he brings like a defensive Salamence, but then I can run Ice Punch for that. So Tangrowth is pretty important, I would say, to check the Mega Gallade. But anything, the top 3 most threatening things I believe from my team. First, Naganadel. I believe I could just sweep pretty easily. Once, if it's like a special defensive T-Tar, I gotta watch out for that. Metagross and like a special defensive Piloswine are basically his answers to Naganadel. And of course, not letting me get a +1 speed boost. So he's gotta watch out for that. Thundy T with Electric plus Focus Blast or Superpower coverage does very, very well against his team. Stuff like Piloswine will get bulked by a Focus Blast. Metagross will take a lot of damage from Focus Blast. It'll all take enough damage anyway from like a Thunderbolt. And even if Metagross handles my Thundy T, I'm going to weaken it enough to where Naganadel can sweep at the end there. So he can't really rely on Metagross as his Naganadel switch in. It's probably going to be the Piloswine, and I can bot that with a Focus Blast. I guess Tangrowth can also handle Thundy T okay, but if like a Z Fly set, then that would be a problem for it. And the third Pokemon, Mega Gallade, can really muscle through his team. Has a nice speed tier that, yes, Koko and Tornadus T handle it very well, but outside of those 2, I outspeed everything else in this team and do a lot of damage. Probably Oko, based on the right coverage move. So he's got to watch out for that, except for Tangrowth again. Tangrowth is a pretty good defensive answer to Gallade, so I kind of expect Tangrowth for that purpose. Anyway, my team here. First, again, Wincon and Naganadel with Nasty Plot, Dragon Meteor, Sludge Wave, Fire Blast. You've seen this set before. The speed is the speed, tie, Tornadus T. Not much else there. Robin Williams with the Life Orb, Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will hit the Koko and kill that. Focus Blast is there for the Piloswine. Thunderbolt just hit everything on his team. And Power Ice for the Salamence. Focus Blast also does a lot of damage to Mega Tyranitar there. No Volt Switch would have been nice if I had that, but I wanted the extra power from Thunderbolt. Next, I have Desmond Miles, the Mega Gallade, Sub, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Ice Punch with max HP and an X speed to outspeed Infernape, and then the little bit there just for special defense. This does a lot of damage. Again, if Koko and Torn-T are out, he doesn't have a whole lot of answers. The bulk is there, which is very nice to take a hit from like Infernape or Mega Tyranitar, which is really nice, and then I can recover HP with a Drain Punch, especially if like Infernape went for close combat previously. Next I got Special Defensive Mew, Soft Boil, Gunk Shot, Drain Punch, Ice Punch. He has a lot of special attackers like the Koko, the Tornadus T. Infernape could be special. Tangrowth obviously is not that big of a deal. Uh, but also I can take a hit from like Salamence as long as it's not a +1 and uses the Z move. Uh, Gunk Shot is there to kill the Koko as long as it's like at 60-ish%. It also does decent damage to the Tangrowth. Drain Punch just for recovery also hits the Piloswine very nice. And Ice Punch is there to hit the Torn T and hit the Salamence for 2-hit KOs. Next Pokemon I have on my team is Landorus with Earth Power, Stealth Rock, Hidden Power Ice, and Sludge Wave. Max speed to outspeed Salamence before Dragon Dance, and Hidden Power Ice will bop that. Sludge Wave is there for the Tangrowth primarily, and Earth Power will hit the rest of his team pretty hard. Torn T can kind of take this set pretty well. If it's a Assault Vest, and Power Ice is not going to do a ton. But otherwise, I'm going to be doing pretty good damage to the rest of his team here. Also, like a special defensive Blastoise, I guess, could take it on pretty well, but I really don't see Blastoise coming in this matchup. And the last Pokemon I have is Eugene the Kingler. I have Agility at +2 speed. I'll outspeed the Tapu Koko. And then I have Liquidation, which pretty much nukes his entire team as long as it's not a like Metagross. If it's weakened, Tangrowth in full can take a Liquidation. Salamence has the Intimidate drop and can take it all right, and a Blastoise handles it well. X-Scissor hits the Tangrowth for like 50-ish% if he's not physically defensive, and Ice Beam will actually kill the Salamence after Rocks, which is pretty cool there with Sheer Force. So X-Scissor could 2-hit KO to Tangrowth. I predict that on the Switch, which is nice. I don't do a whole lot to Blastoise, but the rest of my team can handle it pretty well, so I'm not too worried about that, and I don't expect it to come really. So that's the team. Let's see how well it does in the match. Alright, as we see from the team here, I pretty much expect everything that he brought. I was thinking Tangrowth would come just because it handles the Mega Galliot so well, but I have a lot of ways to handle Tangrowth, like with Alolan Ninetales or Skarmory or Thundy T or Naganadel, even Mew or Landorus. I could do pretty good damage to Tangrowth, so I'm not too surprised it didn't come. It's definitely a Dragon Dance sweeping Tyranitar set. I'm assuming Piloswine is a Stealth Rocker and a Metagross is some type of Assault Vest or Akaberry set to handle my Naganadel. So right off in this matchup, we're going to lead with Kingler, assuming he's either going to lead with Metagross or Piloswine, and I would do a ton of damage to either of them. Leads with Tornadus, so I cannot take a Hurricane, even with all the bulk that I have on this spread, just because Kingler's special defense is so bad. So I'm going to handle the one Pokemon on a team that can handle it pretty well, which is special defensive Mew. And he's going to U-turn out. I know he's max special attack based on that spread. Actually, I don't remember. He might not be. Actually, I think Hurricane was doing more like 40-ish% if he was max special attack. So I believe he was just a max HP, max speed set is what I'm guessing there. So that's good information to know. I can soft boil up to full. He's probably going to get rocks up here. So I'm going to go right in Kingler to threat. Because he doesn't have Tangrowth, he basically has to sack something here. Metagross could take a hit, but I probably outspeed it, so it's not going to live too. So he decides to sack the Infernape, which is fine. He probably expects Mega Galliot to outspeed and kill it, Naganadel to outspeed and kill it, and either he's assuming Thundurus or Landorus is Scarfed, which would kill it. So Infernape's a pretty good sack there. Brings in the Koko, which is a huge threat. I'm going to go into Thundurus, which can take an electric move. He goes for a Z move here and goes for Guardian of Alola. Good prep there. He does a ton of damage, obviously. 75% of my HP there. I predict him to predict me to be Scarfed. And if I was Scarfed, Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave would do a ton of damage to this Koko. So he does not want to let that happen. So I'm going to predict him to go into Metagross or Piloswine and go for the Focus Blast and try to get a good hit off. And I go for the Focus Blast here, and based on that damage, he is an Assault Vest Metagross set, so that's good to know. Knocks me off the Bullet Punch, that's fine. I know I can knock him out with Earth Power here, but I predict him to go into a Tornadus T, and I also want to get Stealth Rocks up later on for the long term. So I go for Rocks here, and he kills me off with Ice Punch. Unfortunate Landorus didn't do more than that, but I'm okay with that. And at this point, if I get an Agility up, Kingler pretty much wins with that Stealth Rock up there in case it's like a max HP Thunder Tornadus set. Kingler should be able to knock it out with a Liquidation because I'm adamant Life Orb. He could have Thunder Punch on this set, but I'm willing to take the risk, and I go for it, and he is a Thunder Punch, so he does knock me out here. Very unfortunate. He's also a lot of attack investment to knock me out, even though the electric terrain is up. So that's unfortunate there, but I'm still not in the worst position. Mega Gallade has a little bit of a hard time with the remaining ones because he has Koko and Tornado still pretty healthy. Naganadel could still sweep at the end just because it was weakened by the Thunderous, and Mew can still pretty much handle his entire team, and besides like a Dragon and Tyranitar Crunch. So I'm going to go into Naganadel, get a ton of damage off with a Fire Blast here. He does a lot of damage with a Bullet Punch there, and I don't want to take another hit, so I'm going to just go into Mew. So I could sweep later on with Naganadel, hopefully. Bullet Punch is not too much, and I'm going to try to knock it out with Drain Punch, and he barely lives, which is very unfortunate. And he goes for a Meteor Mash here, does a lot of damage. At this point, I'm going to Soft Boil, and hopefully he misses a Meteor Mash before he gets an attack boost. So I'm going to do this for a couple turns, just trying to get as much HP up as possible. He gets the attack boost there, as you saw the turn before, and I predict him to not go for the Bullet Punch there, and I'm going to just knock him out. He probably should have Bullet Punched, just because my Mew would have been a lot lower. It would have been a little bit harder to get a Roost off. If, say, let's go back a little bit to seeing how much Bullet Punch. I believe Bullet Punch did 20%, so it would have done 30-ish% here. So instead of being at a 60-ish%, I would have been at 40-ish%. And at that point, I guess Tornadus wouldn't be able to knock me out, but if I had to switch out and come back in, he could knock me out with Hurricane, so that would have been a problem there. Tapu Koko probably doesn't knock me out, just because I know it's not a boosting nature. Piloswine wouldn't be able to knock me out. Tyranitar would kill me with a Crunch, probably even from this range here, because I'm not physically defensive. So Bullet Punch probably was the play there, but I still thought I had a pretty good chance to Roost up if possible. And I felt like I still had ways around to win this game with Naganadel. But Tyranitar comes in. I know my Mega Gallade can beat a 1v1 just because even if he Dragon Dances, he's not going to be able to knock me out with any one move. And if he doesn't go for the Dragon Dance, I should be able to live any one hit and recover all my HP back with a Drain Punch in return. So he's going to Mega Evolve and go for the Dragon Dance, which I'm perfectly okay with. I know I'm going to live a hit, even after the Rocks and Sand damage. He goes for the Crunch, does not kill me, which is cool, and I am going to knock it out with Drain Punch. And at this point, Mew has a pretty good chance to win, unless if he's Toxic on his Piloswine, or if he has Taunt on like the Tornadus would be a problem there. So I'm going to sack my Naganadel here, just because my Mega Gallade could still win in a pinch. If Tornadus misses a couple of Hurricanes, I can Ice Punch kill that, and my Gallade can take on the Piloswine 1v1. So I figured my Naganadel was the least useful member of my team at this point. So he knocks me out with the Dazzling Gleam. I'm fine with that. Get a switch into Mew, and I can Soft Boil pretty easily on this. Goes to their Thunderbolt, does 35%. So based on that damage before, Koko wouldn't have been able to knock me out. But if I switched out with my Mew on that Metagross play with the Bullet Punch, then I would have died to that. He goes for Nature's Mammoth, just wants to try to keep me at half. But I'm in pretty good shape right now. Obviously, he doesn't have Toxic with this. He could have Toxic with the Piloswine now, so I just got to watch out for that. I Drain Punch there just to get a little bit of recovery, and I knew I needed that chip damage to knock out Tapu Koko with a Gunk Shot, just because I have no attack investment, so Mew doesn't do a ton of damage without attack investment. So I decided to knock it out here, and I'm at about half health. So I should be able to live a hit unless he crits Hurricanes, but he misses, which is great. I guess if he got a Confusion, that also would have been a problem. At this point, I'm in pretty good shape to win, unless I get confused a lot of times here. He switches out here, I predict that, and go for the Drain Punch. Not too much of a prediction there, because I would have been able to live a Hurricane at that range and Soft Boiled if he stayed in. So that's fine. Just continue to Drain Punch. He does not have attack investment, and he also doesn't have Toxic, assuming because he went for the Earthquake first. So I am able to easily kill this Piloswine while still being at very high health, and eventually I am going to knock out the Tornadus. He misses a Hurricane there, which is unfortunate, and I do kill the Mew. So good game, Baconchest. It was a very close game, even though it was a 2-0. He definitely had a good chance there. Metagross did a lot more damage than he probably thought, even that it was going to do that match. The Kingler play, I guess I could have just attacked the Metagross and done enough damage to where Naganadel would have gotten a +1 speed boost, but Piloswine was still a threat on the field, so I wasn't able to sweep in the end there with Naganadel, even if Kingler did enough damage with Liquidation plus Fire Blast from Naganadel. So good game, Baconchest. He is 4-3 right now, but still has a very good chance to make playoffs. So I'd be excited to play for a rematch potentially in the future. We'll see. But until next time, later, guys.